But Lance Stephenson's three-pointer makes it a 9-point game. We head to the fourth here in Oakland. 91-82 Lakers.
When playing a professional sport that is as competitive as basketball, it's expected for the players to come up with ways to celebrate. Of course, NBA players are no exception. Some of these signature taunts have gotten so popular that athletes playing other sports than basketball could also be seen using them. Here's a list of some of the most popular signature taunts of NBA players. Number 8. LeBron James's The Silencer. It is impossible to talk about some of the most popular and unique signature taunts in NBA history and not mention LeBron James's The Silencer. This move was first debuted in Cleveland on March 20, 2013, back when James was still a member of the Miami Heat. This victory dance has been copied by many other players, such as Pittsburgh Steelers' William Gay, Ohio State's Braxton Miller, and even LeBron's own son. The move is pretty simple, yet is intense enough to signify the celebration aspect of the moment. James pushed down his hand 3 times with his palms facing the floor, implying that the air is so thick you could almost touch it, and then he double taps his right hand over his chest, followed by a primal scream that has no trouble establishing who's the boss on that court. All of these moves come together to make one The Silencer, which has the ability to quiet a hostile crowd, making it by far be the best celebration in the NBA. But could we expect anything less from King James? Number 7. Nick Young's three-point goggles. Easily the coolest taunt, Nick Young's double three-point goggles deserves a place on this list. Called Swaggy P by the public, Nick Young makes sure to meet expectations when he brings out the celebration after making a three-pointer. He creates a goggle-like silhouette over his eyes by pinching his index fingers against his thumb while leaving his other 3 fingers up on each hand to reference the number of points he just scored. This signature point got so popular that people started printing out the image of him pulling the three-point goggles onto everything they could. From t-shirts to caps to mugs, if you're a fan of Nick Young's double three-point goggles, you can easily be reminded of one of the coolest moments in NBA history when drinking your coffee. Of course, it makes sense for Swaggy P to have a signature taunt that highlights his three-pointer skills. Playing for the Los Angeles Clippers in 2012, Young managed to make 3 three-pointers in under a minute, making him a key part of the Clippers' comeback victory. That's not all. While playing for the Los Angeles Lakers from 2013 to 2017, Young had managed to score 36 three-pointers in 8 games, the most in an 8-game stretch in Lakers history. Number 6. Jason Terry's The Jet. Jason Terry takes points for both creativity and execution. Nicknamed The Jet long ago, Terry's signature taunt involves mimicking a plane taking off after he nails a big three-pointer. He goes twisting and turning down the court with his arms extended on either side of him as if he's taking his first flying lesson. Being one of the most fun celebrations in the NBA, whenever you see The Jet, you can be sure Terry is having a great time. If not that, then he's just getting warmed up from downtown. Of course, this is even more disappointing for his opponents. Terry's celebration move is pretty well deserved. As of March 2020, Terry was the only player in NBA history to have made the 7th most three-point field goals. It was when he was playing for the Dallas Mavericks from 2004 to 2012 that he debuted his signature move. Although people knew him as Jet from his initials, it quickly transformed into The Jet after he added mimicking an airplane with his arms as the wings, a part of persona in Dallas. Number 5. Russell Westbrook's hand pistols. When you take into account Russell Westbrook's unrestrained and unrelenting style of play, then the holstering of his hand pistols as a signature move makes a lot of sense. After making a basket that's usually from a long range, Westbrook likes to raise each hand to his mouth to blow away the smoke wafting from his gun barrels. He then goes ahead to tuck each hand, signifying a pistol, neatly into its imaginary holster on his hips. He blows out his 3 pistols with 3 fingers up to celebrate a three-pointer and screams, "Boom!" when he holsters them. All this implies that he's done what he needs to do, but it could very well happen again, anytime. One of the finest celebrations in the NBA, Westbrook's hand pistol move is a bit like Joakim Noah's pistol dance, just more toned down and authoritative. Usually after draining a nice 3 at the buzzer to end the 3rd quarter, you know it's Westbrook celebration time. If you're a fan of the NBA, you'll know how intense and perfectly executed the hand pistols are. Number 4. James Harden's cooking dance. While playing for the Houston Rockets, James Harden debuted the cooking dance, which was quite controversial to say the least. Many people thought he had stolen the move from rapper Lil B, including Lil B himself. The rapper even went as far as to issue a warning to Harden, telling him to calm down with the cooking dance or he'll have to face the wrath of the based god's curse. But even though the two moves are pretty similar, it's important to differentiate between the two. Lil B's cooking dance is bigger and more pronounced, as if he were cooking up a batch of cookies for a party of 20. Whereas Harden's taunt is more confined, more like stirring up a small bowl of mac and cheese to eat while watching Netflix. Harden aims to tell his opponent with his cooking dance that he's here to eat, and it's for him and him alone. Watching him do it on the field after making a glorious shot is nothing if not a delight. We sincerely hope Harden continues to pay no attention to Lil B. It'd be a shame for him to stop with his incredible celebration. Number 3. Karen Butler's Pick Up the Phone. Most of the stunts Butler pulls on the basketball court fail to make much sense. For example, one of his biggest quirks is chewing on a folded straw throughout the game. And of course, he's Karen Butler, which means he does it with literally zero fear of accidentally choking on it. Much like that, his signature taunt includes picking up a phone and holding it to his ear as he runs back down court. Of course, it wasn't long until people started wondering who Butler was making all these telephone calls to. Although it is quite odd and doesn't make much sense on the court, watching it in action after he's just scored is pretty awesome to say the least. What makes it even greater is when one of his teammates mimics picking up the phone on the other end to receive the good news. In one game, it was Hashim Tabit on the bench who answered Butler's phone call after he scored a three-pointer. Number 2. Carmelo Anthony's 3 to the Dome. Carmelo Anthony had hopes about how his time in New York would be like. However, the reality turned out to be quite different. The Knicks ended up bowing out in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs during 2 of his 3 seasons in the Big Apple. But his experience wasn't for nothing, as it brought us the signature 3 to the head celebration. The move involves Anthony signifying a big three-pointer by hitting himself in the head with 3 fingers a couple of times. Although it does look like it might hurt, it's a subtle reminder to Anthony that not everything is terrible and that he can still hit big three-pointers, even though he once had to play with Andrea Bargnani. This celebration ended up becoming an iconic part of Carmelo Anthony's game. However, it turns out that this signature move isn't an Anthony original. In fact, it came from another Portland Trail Blazers icon known as Rasheed Wallace. Number 1. Stephen Curry's Tap and Point to the Sky. Although the chest tap and point to the sky is just that, the simplicity of this move makes it a delight to watch. A simple way to commemorate one of the hundreds of three-pointers that this MVP makes throughout this year, it's more basic than every other signature move we have mentioned in this list. Curry also likes to pull out other over-the-top celebrations, like telling himself to giddy up when he makes bigger shots. But something about the way the tap and point is done in rhythm makes it almost a part of the three-point shooting motion itself. However, it turns out, the signature taunt has actually a quite sweet story behind it, which makes it the glorious move it is today. It was started by Curry and his mom. Whenever she'd go to his game, they'd do the sign to each other, which basically means, have a heart for God. Because of the sweet meaning behind it, it seems suitable to keep this signature celebration for last. And that's a wrap on signature taunts of NBA players. What do you think about the relevant question to the video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.